Good morning, friends. In this session, we will learn basic system configuration tools, standard input, output, and pipes. This is the 10th session. We have covered 9 sessions. Previously, we have covered in class 1, introduction to Linux. In second class, virtual lab setup and OS installation. In third class, Linux basic. In fourth class, file system and basic commands. In fifth class, disk partitioning and LVM. In sixth class, running commands. Seventh class, command history and scripting. In eighth class, monitor resources. In ninth class, users groups and permissions. In today's class, we will learn basic command configuration tools. Let's start the session. In previous class, we have covered user information is stored in /etc psswd, group information stored in /etc group, special permission like sticky bit. All files are owned by one user and one group. The mode of file is made of 3 permissions: user, group, and all others. 3 permissions may be granted or denied: read, write, and execute. Like today class, we will learn basic system configuration tools. Date. Date is the command to check the current date and time of the server. If you want to set the date, we have to use the command date ---- set. Then this is the format actually. First year, then month, then date, one space, then hour and minute. So command will be date ---- set equal to, this is the format through which we can set the current date. And then network. So view interface configuration with IPA. IPA is the command through which we can check the network information. That means you can see ENS 160 is the network port where my IP address is configured, and other network ports are here listed in the screen. So using the IPA command, we can check the IP address of the Linux server. Another way is also ifconfig port name. That means here my port name is ENS 160. Ifconfig ENS 160. You can also see here. See the details giving me. This is the IP address. This is the net mask, and all other information that is showing in the screen. To enable a interface with eHub command, we have to use the command eHub ENS 192. Here in my case, it is ENS 160. So if I want to off the network port, I have to use the command eHub ENS 160. Likewise, if you want to disable the interface, we have to use the command if down ENS 160. And the graphical tool is the go to the system, administration, and network. There you will get the GUI tool to change the configure the network port. Another way is also NMTY. This is the GUI tool through which we can also configure the IP addresses. You can see this is the GUI tool where we can configure edit a network port. Here you can see IPv4 configuration is automatic. That means it is the IP is coming from the DHCP. If you want to configure it manually, we can set also here. So NMTY is the GUI tool using which we can configure the IP address. Here install Network Manager TUI. That means Network Manager TUI package is required for the NMTY tool. Network configuration file, Ethernet devices. That means, as I already told you, all configurations are stored in configuration files in Linux. So Ethernet configuration files are stored in path etc sysconfig network-scripts. That means in this path, all Ethernet ports configuration are saved, and in case of ON60, that will be ifconfig -ENS 160. It is /etc config network hyphen rules, sorry, network hyphen script. You can see CFG ENS160. This is the configuration file for the ENS160 port. So if you want to check the configuration, then using the cat command, we can see the contents. Here you can see all information is stored here. So network configuration file, other global network settings. That means global settings are /etc sysconfig network. This is the network in the configuration file where global information like DNS and other global configuration will be stored. You can see nothing is configured here because all settings are configured here, as well as the another file that is resolve.conf. In resolve.conf, we have configured the name server. You can see name server is configured. Name server means this is the DNS server. So if you want to set the DNS server, we can also configure in the global setting, and this setting will be applied to the all the Ethernet ports. That means all the Ethernet configuration file will be take the global configuration from the network file. So resolve.conf file is required for the DNS configuration. So printer setting, package required COPS client COPS. List configured printers are LP state -8. Printing commands LPR myfile.txt. LPQ views the content of the queue. LPRM removes a job from the queue. This is the printer related commands. Then standard input STDIN keyboard by default. That means standard input is the keyboard by default. Standard output, that means terminal window by default. That means this is the standard output, this is the terminal. And standard error, that means terminal window by default. That means output and error, it will be displayed in the terminal. And standard input is the keyboard. So standard output and standard error can be redirected to a file using the command find. We can redirect standard output and errors to a file. As you can see, this is, if I use the cat command to take the resolve.configuration contents, here you can see this is the output displaying in the terminal. But if I want to redirect this terminal to a file, at that time what we can do? We can use 3 ways. That means greater than symbol used to redirect standard output to a file, and 2 greater than symbol redirect error to a file, and if you use the ampersand and greater than symbol, it will redirect the all outputs. That means it may be the output or the error. It will forward to the file. Let me show you. You can see this is the output of the cat command of the resolve.conf file. If you will forward this output to a file, we have to use the command, same command cat, and we will forward the output to the file 2. This is file 2 is a text file where we will forward the output to the cat command. You can see no display is showing in the terminal, and the output is forwarded to the cat file. You can check in the file 2, contents of the file 2. You can see the output is forwarded to the file 2 file. Likewise, if you want to forward the error also, we can use the ampersand and greater than symbol. So why it is required? Why it is required to forward the output and error and all output to a file? Whenever we will use a script, at that time we cannot check the execution output at that time, because we will schedule the script at a later time. So script will be executed according to our required timetable. So at that time script is executed successfully or not. If you want to check at that time, what we will do, we will forward the output to a file. At that time, these parameters are required. So if you want to append the output, at that time we will use the double greater than symbol. Let me show you that. What we have done here, we have checked the password file, and from the output we will grab the Duke users information and we will forward the output to the file 2. Let's check now what is the contents of the file 2. You can see this is the Duke users information stored in the file 2. Now we will search another user, Vishnu, and forward to the file 2. Now you can see all Vishnu users information stored in the file 2, but Duke users information now not available. But our requirement is to append the output. That means we will append the Vishnu users information with the Duke user. But here it is not. Our purpose is not solved. So in this type, in this type of requirement, we will use the double greater than symbol. Then it will append the output with the current output. Now you can see previously there was all information related to Vishnu. Now Duke users information appended to the file. Likewise, whenever you require to append the contents, you can use the double greater than symbol. Then redirecting standard output to a program. That means whenever we require, here you can see this is the example. This is the output of a command, and we use the same output for another command. This is the use of the redirecting standard output to a program. That means we have redirected the output as the input of other command using the pipe symbol. This is the pipe symbol through which we can redirect the output of a program to another command. Redirecting it to multiple targets. That means we can use the pipe symbol to redirect the multiple output to another command. That means here command 1, and from the command 1 we will use the output of the command 1 for the input of the command 2. Then command 2's output we will forward as the input of the command 3. If you check the command cat etc password, then pipe t file 2, then pipe grep Duke, then append the information to the file 2. This is the example of the T command. That means using the T, we can use the multiple targets.